shop. CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter joins us now. Bill, how are you this afternoon, my man?
I mean, not as good as Kings fans, but I'm hanging in there. What's going on?
Yeah, folks are pretty happy out here. But did you honestly, as somebody who watches the NBA from a national perspective, did you see the playoffs as a real possibility for this team, and just straight playoffs, not the play-in route?
Oh hell no! I swung and missed so hard. So I'm looking right now at my year-end predictions, and I had the Kings. Where did I have them? I had them in 11th, which feels like a victory, even though I was so far off. No, I like the team like everybody else. I like the youth. De'Aaron Fox is obviously a stud. The trade I thought made sense, but we've just seen, maybe we've been trained so many years of Kings failures that I thought whatever I like on paper, I did not think and believe it would translate, let alone the way that it has in reality.
My boy, rocking with my guy, Bill Reiter, man. Hey, me and Bill go back quite a while. You know, if you didn't know, Bill is the LeBron whisperer. He's one of the LeBron whisperers of the league.
I did not know that.
You know, we talk about around here in Sacramento with Sam Amick and Kevin Durant. You know, Bill is one of those LeBron guys, man. So we got to get a LeBron question in there. But, Bill, you're around national pundits. You get to talk to people all the time, rocking on CBS. What is the feeling that you're getting from national guys when it comes to Sacramento and the Kings' playoff chances? Because we keep hearing they're a mark. Windhorst has said they're a mark. People want to play these guys. What are you hearing in your circles?
Yeah, and look, they are a mark. Draymond Green, I mean, I think he can hide behind the "we just want to drive down the road" spiel that he gave on his podcast, but that's a real feeling. So I've got kind of two feelings about it, Jay and guys. On the one hand, just historically speaking, teams do not make the NBA Finals, let alone win them, if they don't have a top 10 defense. That's just, I mean, with a couple very rare exceptions over the last 35 years, that's the deal. And as you guys know, the Kings are extraordinary offensively, but they are poor on defense. That said, man, you know, I could say that means the Kings can't do it. But if you ask me to point to who I believe in the Western Conference, I forget how to speak words out loud. Because unless Durant's healthy and he clicks with the Suns, right? If that doesn't happen, if they're not a lock, it's anybody's ball game in the Western Conference. I think it's historically wide open. So in that context, I've already been wrong about the Kings once. I'm not willing to start saying out loud negative things about the Kings again.
Yeah, you talk about their defense, and I don't think that there's just a flip that they can switch where they're suddenly a good defensive team in the postseason. Out here, we're just hoping they can outrun and outgun and outscore people in the playoffs, Bill. And that offense, I mean, some numbers might indicate that it's the best offense ever when you look at the pace at which they play and score. How much of this offense that's been so dynamic do you think is the real deal, and how much of it do you think is just today's NBA?
I think it's legit. I mean, look, I think what's going to be, and you said it, it is, at least in the regular season, a historically great offense. And you're right, the argument can be made, maybe the best offense of all time. And I think it's remarkable, the combination of the job Mike Brown has done, right? De'Aaron Fox is the star, but the pieces that have brought in, like Kevin Huerter, perfect for the offense that they're running. I'm an Iowa guy, so I'm a little biased, but Keegan Murray, who, like the Kings, that draft pick was bashed so hardcore by the draft prognosticators. Perfect fit. Malik Monk, perfect fit. Here's the question, guys, and I don't know the answer. Normally, teams that play at a high, like a ridiculous pace, that don't play a lot of defense, that run and gun, that do a lot of the things that the Kings do, that often does not translate to the playoffs because it's a best-of-7 series. You can scheme against individual teams. In theory, half-court offenses are a lot more important. Games tend to slow down. So rotations tend to shrink. So I think that with the defense is why people are doubting Sacramento. That said, it's not the same thing as what the Phoenix Suns did back in the day, but those teams, obviously, for their era, were unique and made really deep runs. And no disrespect to Steve Nash or those guys, De'Aaron Fox isn't just probably the clutch player of the year right now. He is, like, if you want to do it on a 5, 10, 15, 20-year timeline, he looks like, we'll see in the playoffs, a guy that can hit big shots in big moments. And I think that's vastly underrated, especially for those people that like look at the analytics. So, again, like, I'm not probably betting on the Kings. I bet on them to certainly win a first-round series, I think, depending on who they're playing. But nothing would surprise me, and I think the margins between all these teams are thin because everybody's got serious weaknesses, including Sacramento.
Joined by Slick Willie, my guy, Bill Reiter, NBA CBS insider. Bill, man, around here in Northern California, we're talking awards. We're talking Mike Brown, Coach of the Year. As you just talked about, De'Aaron Fox, 6th Man of the Year. Keegan Murray, first team all NBA rookie team. Domas maybe third. Is Mike Brown the runaway for Coach of the Year for you, or is there someone that might be in that conversation?
No, I think it's over. And I think there's like 104 of us that vote, or 110, or whatever the number is. I have a vote, so I can tell you at least 1% of the voters, me, are voting for Mike Brown as a lock. Like MVP, guys, I'm either going to think it through, make a bunch of calls, be deliberative, or drink too much and pull 3 names out of the hat. And I don't know what to do on most valuable player, and I think Giannis is in that mix too. But yeah, for Coach of the Year, it is Mike Brown. I mean, it's not even close. It's a remarkable turnaround. We don't vote for Executive of the Year. Executives do. I think that should be a award that's in consideration, too, for the folks in that front office. But for what I can control, yes, it doesn't matter what happens between now and the end of the year. Mike Brown is my Coach of the Year. Absolutely.
And I said yesterday, Monty McNair might be as much a runaway for Executive of the Year as Mike Brown is for Coach of the Year. When you look at the impactful moves that he's made, and I know you don't go back to last season when talking about Executive of the Year. It starts in the offseason, but from Domas to Kevin Herter to Keegan Murray to hiring Mike Brown to Malik Monk, I mean, find me a GM or a front office that's made as many impactful moves as Monty McNair and his team.
I'm 100% with you. I'm going to throw my Keegan Murray guy, my Iowa guy in the mix too, right? Like, where did he get drafted? 4? Do I have that right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love the Hawkeyes. I'm from Dubuque, Iowa. Nobody even knows where Iowa is. But I was shocked when Murray went 4. So you're right. And hiring Mike Brown is such a big part of that. What's interesting to me about Executive of the Year is, like, I know all these guys, and I know, 21 of them really well. And I like those guys. And people that give me information make me happy, right? It's my job. But they are so petty about each other. Right? They are. Like, there's so much, and some of those guys really respect each other, but there's politics involved. And so I agree he should be the lock. I just don't know his politics and the sort of fraternity of other GMs and guys that run front offices, because I do think that plays a bigger role than people sometimes talk about.
Bill, man, let's talk about something that, besides your great work, has put you on the map for quite a long time. LeBron and the Lakers. Where do you see LeBron? You know, the vaunted Lakers here for Sacramento. I know the Lakers would love to, according to Brian Windhorst, and I would imagine some of your sources say they want to play the Kings. What's your take on LeBron coming into the playoffs? Do you think they can get it done? I know you talked about the Western Conference kind of being slim margins. What's your take on the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be skeptical on LA, right? So like usually teams that reconstruct themselves at the trade deadline, and I think it's fair to say that is what the Lakers did, don't have massive success. But again, Western Conference is wide open. Anthony Davis is, for me, so unreliable from a health perspective. But we saw the other night when he had almost 40. I mean, obviously the guy's massively talented. And while I don't think he's a top 10 player in the NBA, he can be on any given night. If LeBron can play through the pain of that foot, and I've heard that it's like he is in actual pain, yeah, I don't think they're going to make it further than a second-round series. But every time I start talking about teams I doubt, outside of maybe the Suns, I have trouble focusing on a team I really believe in. I'll tell you this. I know that the Lakers thought they were doomed before the trade deadline. And even though they said what they said about Westbrook in public, they couldn't stand him. They wanted him out. They knew he was a bad fit. And they felt like they had closed this window on themselves by having to be part of the team. Post that trade deadline, before LeBron got hurt, now that he's back, the same thing is true. The Lakers are incredibly optimistic. That front office and coaching staff thinks that they have something if they get the right matchups. I don't know if they're right, but I do know their confidence and where they think they are is vastly different than it was in February.
How much more gas do you think is left in the tank for LeBron career-wise, and how much of that gas is burned up in a Lakers uniform?
So it's a great question. I think part of the reason I doubt the Lakers a little bit is I think LeBron's got 2 or 3 more years as the second best player for a while on a championship team if you have the right best player, and then maybe a Tim Duncan role at the end of Duncan's time with the Spurs, where Duncan might play 20 minutes a game, but he saved real moments of greatness for a game or two here in the playoffs when he got really old. I just doubt that AD is that guy to be the number one, but I think LeBron can play at a really high level for a really long time. He's just going to go full Greg Popovich load management. I think we are going to see, and I think I could be wrong. Like talking to sources, it's hard to it's like covering the Kremlin, I imagine. Like talking to people about LeBron, you never know who's lying to you. But I think he actually is starting to figure out that he just can't be Superman anymore. And if that's the case, I think you're going to see him play restricted minutes for the first time in his career more often, skip a lot of games, really try to manage himself. So I think he'll be like Tim Duncan, extraordinary when they need him, but I don't think you can rely on that guy to carry you for even 70 or even 65 games. And the Lakers are poorly constructed, so they need either AD to be healthy or for that team to get some help for that to matter for LeBron James.
CBSSports.com, CBS Sports Radio, CBS Sports HQ. On Twitter at Sports Reiter is where you can find Bill Reiter, our guest for the last few minutes here on the show. Bill, really appreciate the time and the insight, man.
Anything for you guys. Thanks for having me, Jay. I'll talk to you guys later.
Doubt, brother. Stay safe.
And Bill joins us on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Always love